10 decks that actually care about Summon Sorceress Errata. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Now, as a reminder over here, the new Summon Sorceress Errata was on Link Summon. We can special summon a monster from your hand to your opponent's zone, this card points to, in defense mode. And its effects are negated, if there are any. I love that. And then you can special summon a monster from your deck with that monster's same type in defense mode. Its effects are negated, if any. And if you do, for the rest of this turn, you can only special summon monsters with that monster's same original type. Did you catch all of that? You have to be able to make a Link 3 and still have a monster in the hand to be able to beam onto the opponent's field to capitalize on any sort of advantage off of this. And that's what we're going to be talking about here. At least in terms of the... So the errata is good, and it does have a soft lock with multiple negates. They were very, very harsh with this. So starting off over here, Yubel. Yes, this is actually pretty cool because Yubel has an inherently easy time Link climbing, and I swear at this point in time, Konami has done everything in their power to make Yubel into this super easy deck. They want you to be able to use this. And I like the fact we can just hand our opponent any random fiend monster out of our hand. You know, 95% of the time we're going to have that terrible Dark Beckoning Beast floating around in our hand, or, you know, a dead Yubel that we could be like, well, you know, here, go ahead and enjoy this. You know, we can blow it off of their field and, you know, continue on with our day. I think that's kind of cool, right? Like, I didn't actually think too much about Yubel when I first sat down this week, but over time, Yubel is, I think, the thing, because the natural in-house building for this, and, you know, just the ability for Yubel to have quick access to everything is pretty good. Now, the one that I think a lot of people have been crazy about has been Pendulum Magicians. Being able to, I mean, everything's inherently a spellcaster in the deck, right? The only thing that you need to be able to do is put a monster on the opponent's field. And I mean, beyond the pendulum, exceed the pendulum, you know, uptillion the pendulum, means we can special summon Jowgen, and then we can Selene back the Jowgen. Yeah, that's where we're at right now, is the fact that suddenly pendulums look a lot more interested in beaming out Jowgen. I kid you not. Like, the fact, like, well, you know, we can make Jowgen and then we can link it off, and then, you know, you can revive the Jowgen on the Selene. It's like, sure, another case of Jowgen showing up in 2024 being one of those cards that you look at and you're like, wow, you know, this has some sort of synergy, I guess, with the deck, at least for what people are really considering out here. So, you know, we'll take that. Next up here is Rika. Now, I've been told by a couple of people, like, Rika's really good with this. And it's like, my problem with looking at this with Rika is you do get plant locked at certain points in the combo, so you're going to have to find a way to get to a Link 3, and then you're going to have to find a way to beam a card out of your hand onto your opponent's field to capitalize on that. And the extra deck in Rika is very, very, very tight. Now, obviously, if you're looking at Rika, for example, you have the insect and all that other scenario stuff. You know, if you can make a board and then lock yourself as like an extension for like the end point of the combo, then I could make an argument for that. I think that would be kind of cool to be able to have access to it in Rika. But because you're doing all of these other pseudo lines of play, that might be a different place for you to try it. But in terms of Rika, a little bit hit or miss. The Cyverse pile. Now this, I mean, you don't have Math Mech anymore, so I mean, you're trying out all of these cool different ideas trying to be able to do this, but I mean, you just need to make sure you don't get Cyverse locked before you hit the Link 3 stage. And that's another thing I'm kind of worried about here. I mean, yeah, you can beam out a Cyverse monster onto your opponent's field and be able to do something for sure, but from where I'm sitting right now, this, once again, this feels a little bit hit or miss, but these are the ideas that people want to reach for, and they want to go, hey, you know, Cyverse is everything for this. And I mean, sure, you know, you can have some sort of idea with, you know, trying to extend through the crazy Cyverse monsters that we do have available in the game for sure, but For now, I feel like the harsh restricting locks of Cyverse are going to prevent you from getting to that key link 3 before you can kind of get things going. You know what I mean? Now, next that Dragon Link. All right, now this is a scary thought here for a second. Dragon Link, they don't really... I guess my problem with Dragon Link is kind of the same thing here. And, you know, making a Link 3 to hand the opponent a monster. I mean, you can hand your opponent a rocket monster that you can, you know, blow off and be like, oh, well, you know, suddenly this is looking a little bit more interesting. All of the dragon piles that are going to consider this are going to have to find quick ways to be able to climb up to the Link ladder, which they can. You know, they literally, the Striker Dragon into Romulus on into a Summon Sorceress, free Dragon Monster, beam out, you know, Tidal, Tempest, Redox, you know, any of these Dragon Rollers that you want to have an extender to come back to the field. Suddenly, that's a lot more interesting than it actually seems. I do like the idea for that. We will have to wait and see, but Dragons definitely got something big out of this. Definitely good. Zombies! Oh, this one's cool. So, all those Mizukis, all those terrible cards that you won in the graveyard, I think the best scenario is special summon a Mizuki to your opponent's field, special summon a Mizuki to your field, find a way to clear that Mizuki off of your opponent's field. Suddenly, you've got way more revives available to you, and I'm kind of liking that, actually. How many Mizukis can we toggle through here, and so forth? And I do think that's kind of a cool idea in and in itself. You know, and zombies, I mean, zombie vampire into a summon sorceress is actually pretty easy for this deck to be able to do. You just got to make sure, once again, do I have a free zombie in my hand to be able to hand them? Because it's not like the deck is inherently pushing down on, you know, free monsters that you really just want to hand to your opponent. But those graveyard floaters, they have some pretty good potential here. Let's talk about volcanics. So this has been a pretty big centralized discussion with this support because, you know, we need a free shell, we need a scatter shot, a rimfire, whatever one of these guys that you need in your graveyard to get you some sort of +1 is 100% doable. You have so many free ideas that you can kind of do. I'm about this, actually. And especially, you know, maybe with your Snake Eyes package. I mean, obviously you have Snake Eyes implications, but we're not going to talk about that. We know this. But the fact that, hey, free revive? Oh, now my scatter shots are live. Now we can start toggling through, you know, these free +1s, these free +2s. And that's actually pretty solid, actually. So, much like zombies here, it's just going to be which dead card can we hand to our opponent to get the best actual value out of here. Dark World. Now, this is a very scary thought here. With Dark World being able to bring out any Dark World monster with this, Summon Sorceress is actually kind of a very scary threat in this style of deck. And you're not getting Fiend Locked, unless you're doing something pretty crazy, at least in the early stages of the combo. Getting 3 monsters on the field to hand your opponent one of your bricks out of your hand. It could depend. I mean, there are some scenarios where you might not be able to get the Summon Sorceress into a good position, or you're like, oh, you got to burn my hand to get this. But in a scenario where, you know, you open up pretty strongly for Dark World, I don't see any sort of issue where you could go through, you know, some pretty crazy lines of play with Dark World just being able to bring out a free extra bounce back revive. Like, sure, whatever I special summon, I can bounce back to my hand? Oh, okay. We'll take that. Next up is ABC, because remember, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. This is the exact same thing that we saw in the past. ABC loved the idea of Summon Sorcerers where they could bring out any missing piece that they needed. Now we can hand our opponent a piece. And the cool thing about ABC is we could also make an Underworld Goddess with the opponent's piece that we give them so that we can go ahead and do the thing. Because we're just like, oh, hey, we have 4 monsters on the field. Tee-hee-hee. Like, that's one of the best applications with this is whatever you give your opponent. You know, you could technically Underworld Goddess with, you just got to make sure, oh, no, I'm machine locked. Well, can't do that at that point. So you would have to make, like, a IP before you start to do, like, Summon Sorceress combo. You've got It's a little bit more of a hassle, but it's doable. But bringing out that free piece on the field, I think, is probably one of the best things that you could actually do for this. And for my own personal pick, I put Novelez on here. My only complaint about this is going to be kind of hard to do. All right, already getting 3 monsters on the field with Novelez is very, very hard, but having another monster that you could chomp up to do a ritual summon or be able to target or do any of that other little fun stuff is actually kind of cool. But once again, I mean, you got a lot to consider in terms of deck build if you're going to try to use Novelez as a crazy ability to try to take advantage of, you know, whatever you're trying to accomplish with this. But hey, you know, it seems pretty cool on paper. And I got to give an honorable shout out here to Charmers. Somebody was like, oh, Summon Sorcerer's coming back. This is the greatest thing ever. We can make Gravekeeper Shaman in the deck. And it's literally the only thing you care about with Shaman is you negate all monster effects that activate in the graveyards, except for Gravekeeper monsters. You have a free spellcaster monster you can bring out. You know, you can also do this in Pendulum as well, but this was their initial thought was, hey, we can do this. So those are the most interesting things that I can think of right now. Obviously, there's things like Unchained and, you know, Snake Eyes, but, you know, those are givens. Please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.